Do you need to pass GED math? Well, if so, you should know that one key difference between people who pass GED math without too much struggle and those that struggle a lot is often your mastery of the basics. So in this video, I want to help you pass GED math so you can finally get it behind you, get that better job or go on to college, make more money so that you can have a better life, better provide for yourself and for your family. And if that sounds good, then you'll want to hit subscribe down below and turn on your notification bells. By the way, my name's Parker and I make videos often like this to help you pass the GED. And today we're going to look at some basic math stuff here. So if you're a beginner to the GED, or if you've been at it for a little while and you're struggling, then it's a good idea to review the basics. And I'm going to give you a basic math quiz here in this video. So what I want you to do is try each question, and if you get stuck, don't worry about it, don't beat yourself up. I'm going to break down a small mini lesson for each question here, and I want you to really stick with me here because we're only going to go for about 15 minutes or so in this video because I've got a hockey game to watch after this, so we're going to be really effective and really efficient here, and I really want you to take away some key things here that are really going to help move your GED score, and I really want to help move that needle for you in the next 15 minutes. So if you give me that time here, I guarantee it's going to be worth your while. So let's get started now. Okay, so let's start off with question 1. 3 squared equals what? So go ahead, pause the video, and you can try this out on your own if you'd like to, and then we'll go over it. Okay, so let's talk about this question here. So first of all, you can pronounce this as 3 squared, or you could say 3 raised to the second power, or 3 raised to the power of 2. Those are just a few different ways to say the same thing with different words. So what you need to know for a question like this, so you have to know that 3 is what we call our base, and 2 is what we call our exponent. So the exponent tells us how many times the base appears in multiplication. So for 3 squared, the 2 tells us that the 3 is going to appear in multiplication twice. So to solve this question, you would just simply do 3 times 3, and the answer is 9. Now, one huge mistake, and if anybody made this mistake, know that that's okay because I really want you to learn from it now. So don't be hard on yourself if you made this mistake because it's very common, but I want to make sure that you know this for the GED test. So some people would see 3 and they'd see the 2, and they'd think that the way to solve a question like this is you just multiply them. They'd say, well, you do 3 times 2, and the answer is 6. And that's incorrect, so that's a big mistake. So I want to cross this out so we realize that that approach is a mistake. So just remember that the exponent tells you how many times the base appears in multiplication. Okay, question 2. Solve for x. And we have 3x plus 10 equals 31. And let me be clear, this is an x, so this is 3x, this is not a multiplication symbol. So go ahead, you can pause the video, try to solve this for x, and then as always, we'll go over it. Okay, so let's take a look at how to solve this question, and this is a common type of question that you'll get on the GED test. This is a little more basic than the average question on the GED test, but the skill is crucial to master for the GED. So when I say solve for x, what we really mean, let's put this in simple terms, is we want to get x by itself on one side of our equation. So right here we see our 3x. So the strategy here is we want to get the 3x alone on one side of our equation. So since we have 3x plus 10, we want to start by getting rid of that 10. So the opposite of addition is subtraction. So if we get rid of this 10, the way that we have to do that is we have to subtract 10. And in math, whatever you do to one side, you always have to do to the other side of the equation as well. So we subtract 10 from both sides of our equation. So 10 minus 10 is 0, so these 10s are going to cancel out. 31 minus 10 is 21. So let me rewrite this equation now, or what's left of it. So I'm drawing an arrow to show that I'm rewriting it. So we'd be left with 3x equals 21. And so now, the goal again, we want to get this x by itself here. So when I see this 3x, what I want you to think is really 3 times x. So now we want to do the opposite of multiplication, which is division. So since we have 3 times x, we want to divide by 3, and that's going to give us x by itself. Now again, whatever you do to one side of the equation, you also have to do that to the other. So we're going to divide 21 by 3 as well. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 1 times x is just x. 21 divided by 3 is 7. So the answer is just 7. So the answer is x equals 7. Okay, so we just found that x equals 7. So let me show you a trick here to make sure that we have the answer right. So what we want to do here is we want to take this 7, we want to substitute it back into our equation for x. All right, so I want to replace this x with a 7. So we would rewrite it as 3 times 7 plus 10. And if I do the math here, if this comes out to be 31, then we'll know that 7 is the correct answer for x. So what's 3 times 7? Well, 3 times 7 is 21. And so we would do 21 plus 10, which indeed gives us 31. So we know that 7 is the correct answer here. Now on your test, if you have extra time, for a question like this, it's always a good idea to go back and plug that number back into your equation and just to double check your work. But if you don't have time on your test, that's okay. You can go ahead and skip this process. Okay, question number 3. Which number is in the numerator and which number is in the denominator? So I've given you a fraction here, and the fraction is 11 over 12. So pause the video, try it out, and then we'll go over it. Okay, so let's talk about this one. So this is one of those that you kind of have to just memorize. And this is an important concept to understand. So the top number of any fraction is what we call the numerator. So the numerator here is 11. And so I've just put an n here. So n just stands for numerator, so we don't have to write out this whole word numerator. And so the bottom number is what we call the denominator. So 12 is our denominator. And again, I'm just going to abbreviate that with a d, but d is for denominator. So one trick to remember that is to just think that the number that's on the bottom of a fraction, think about it. That number is downstairs, or that number's in the dungeon. So the denominator is the downstairs number of the fraction. You can also think about it as the denominator is the number that's in the dungeon. However you want to remember it, that's just kind of a silly way to do it. And also, so for the top number, the numerator, I've got another really silly trick to remember that. So think about the salad dressing. There's salad dressing. It's called Newman salad dressing. So Newman salad dressing, you put that on top of your salad. So think about it, Newman's numerator. So I know that that's really silly, but it does help you remember it. Sometimes the sillier ways you have to remember things are what help it stick the most. So just remember top number, numerator, bottom number, denominator, and life will be good. Okay, next question. Consider the following equation. What is the value of y when x equals 2? So let me read this equation here for you before I let you try this on your own. So I have y equals 8x minus 4, all divided by 3x. So you can go ahead and pause the video. You know the drill, try it out, and then we'll go over it. Okay, hopefully you had a chance to try this question out. So let's go over this one. So we're told here that x equals 2. So we want to figure out what y is. So all we're going to do here is we're going to take this 2, and everywhere that we see an x, we're going to replace that x with a 2. So in other words, we're going to rewrite this. So let me rewrite this now, and I'm going to rewrite it so that I replace all of the x's with 2's. Okay, so we now see 8 times 2 minus 4 all over 3 times 2. So the order of operations rules are important to note for the GED test. So basically, I do have a video where I break down all the order of operations rules, which I will link to down below. But basically, you always want to do your multiplication and your division before you do your subtraction. So let's handle our multiplication here. So we have 8 times 2. So 8 times 2, that's 16, and 3 times 2 is 6. So let me rewrite this now again so this is a little bit cleaner here. So now we're at 16 minus 4 divided by 6. So I said that you need to do the multiplication and division before you do the subtraction, but here's a little nuance in the order of operations rules that a lot of people don't understand. So the division bar here, which we see this division bar, it acts like a set of parentheses. So you can think of everything on the top and in the bottom as being encased in parentheses. So in the order of operations rules, you want to start with what's in the parentheses first. So in this case, we're going to do 16 minus 4, and we're going to do that before we try to do any division here, right? So 16 minus 4 is 12, and now we have 12 divided by 6. So I just wanted to make clear here why you do 16 minus 4 before you try to do the division, right? So we have 12 divided by 6, which that equals 2. So let me draw an arrow here to show that the answer to this is 2. All right, now there's a different way that you could have thought about it though, rather than doing 16 minus 4. So alternatively, let me just back up here. You could have also thought about it this way. So you could have tried to divide an even number from 16, from 4, and from 6, right? So since these are all even numbers, you could have divided each of these by 2. So 16 divided by 2 gives us 8, and 4 divided by 2 is just 2. And what about our 6? Well, 6 divided by 2 is 3. Okay, so then you could have done 8 minus 2, which gives you 6, and we still have 6 divided by 3. 6 divided by 3 equals 2. So that's just a little bit of a shortcut method, and either way you do it, you get 2. But the answer to this is going to be y equals 2. Okay, next question. And if you're struggling with any of these questions so far, then don't feel bad, keep going. You're here to learn, so it's okay to make mistakes. I'd much rather you stumble now and practice than when you get to the real test. And if you're doing well so far, maybe you've gotten all the questions right so far, then great job, great work. And if not, give yourself a pat on the back anyway for the fact that you're still here and that you're taking a step towards improving your GED score. So with that said, let's get on with the question. A hockey goalie won 70% of the games he played in. If he played in 30 games, how many did he win? And so this is a percents question, so I've given you the percent formula, the most common version of it anyway right here, which it's part over whole equals percent over 100. So now go ahead, pause the video, take this opportunity to try the question, and then we'll go over how to do it. Okay, so let's go over this. And percent questions are very important because I've heard from several students that they had a percent question on their test. So what you have to understand for any kind of word problem, or especially any percent problem here, is that you always want to first figure out what you're trying to find. So in this case, we want to know how many games did he win. So at the end of the question, we want to make sure that whatever number we calculate, that's actually the number of games that he won. All right, so now let's look at the information that we're given here. So we're given this one number here, we're given 70. Okay, so we're told that the percent is 70. All right, so I can tell you this right off the bat. In this formula here, for percent, we're going to be plugging 70 in just a moment. So now we see this. If he played in 30 games, how many did he win? So for most percent problems, one of the main sticking points that a lot of people have is they're unsure if the number that they're given is the part or the whole. So this 30 here, all right, so 30 is going to be either the part or the whole, but we have to make sure that we plug it in for the right number here. So think about it. So it's asking us how many games did he win? And we know that he played 30, and we obviously know that he did not win every single game because he only won 70% of them. So the number of games that he played, the total number of games, that's going to be the whole. All right, so 30 is going to be the whole. So I'm just going to put 30 equals W for the whole. Now, the number of games that he won, that is going to be the part, all right? So make sure that you understand that because it's really key for these types of questions. You have to understand which number is the whole and which number is the part. And simply put, the whole is always going to be a bigger number than the part, all right? So that's not the only way to think about it, but hopefully that helps you out with the thought process you need for a question like this. So for any question like this, you always have to remember that the percent number must always go over 100, okay? And so think about it this way. So percent, that means out of 100. So the number that we're given, that's 70%, all right? So that 70 is going to go over 100. So now let's plug the numbers in here and let's do the math. So we're going to plug 70 in for percent and 30 in for the whole. So let me rewrite this now. Okay, so I rewrote this so we now have P, which I abbreviated part as P. We have P over 30 equals 70 over 100. So we want to get the p by itself. So what we can do, since it's p divided by 30, we can multiply by 30 here, right? And whatever you do to one side, you also do to the other side. Okay, so 30 divided by 30 gives us 1. 1 times p is just p. Now on the other side, we've got 70 times 30 divided by 100. All right, so there's a couple different ways to think about how to do this here, but the simple way that I'm going to do it, we're just going to do 70 times 30 in the calculator here, right? So I got 2,100, and so that's still divided by 100. So now we're just going to do the division. So the simple way to do it, just plug this into your calculator, and what I get is that p equals 21. All right, so the part is 21. So now let's make sure that we solve what we're trying to find out here. So does our answer make sense here? So if he played 30 games and he won 21, all right, so logically, yes, that sounds right. So if he played 30 games, he won 70% of them. 21 games, yes, that sounds about right. That sounds about what you'd expect. So the correct answer here is 21 games. So if you want to review some more basic math, I've got a whole math playlist full of math lessons that are really going to help you learn the math that you need to know to pass the GED. And if you're ready to take another quiz and see what you've got, then click that quiz button here on screen, and that'll take you to the math quiz. Thank you so much for watching. Good luck on your test.